Welcome, everyone, to the show. You're with Ray Smith and Sandra Johnson. You're listening to the I Am Real Estate Show on KVOI The Voice. You're back with the Johnson Smith team, and we're here with Rigo, RC, owner of Pest Prevention. His company has been in serving the Old Pueblo for over 16 years.
So, speaking of flying bugs, there was this massive bug that we saw the other day at my house. And my son asks me, what is this bug? And I said, I don't know what it is. And he's like, well, is it going to get me? And I said, I don't think so. Just leave it alone. And then he keeps asking me, but what is it? What is it? And I said, don't worry. It's not going to bite you unless you're naughty. And his eyes get wide and he says, oh, no, it's going to get my sister. And, never know about that one. But what are these crazy bugs that are flying around? They look like giant mosquitoes, but what are they?
Before you even said giant mosquito, I knew exactly what you were talking about, because it is the first insect of spring that comes out. In fact, in my office, and by the way, Matthew won the gift card this year, but in my office, every year, every
Matthew.
spring, I give out a gift card to the first sighting of this insect. And the tech has to take a picture, and he has to submit it in the group text, and sure enough, Matthew got it this year. So that giant mosquito killer, right, or that giant mosquito, I hear different phrases, but it's actually called a crane fly. It's a fly.
What?
It's actually a fly. It doesn't bite. And it is just a very unusual looking insect, right? Unusual looking fly. Interestingly enough, very much like the Palo Verde beetle that comes out, that's like the insect of summer, right? Each season has its insects. So, there's many of them, but the one that really says, ooh, summer's here. Well, in this case, the crane fly signifies spring is in the air, every single year. The crane fly is a nuisance insect, just kind of buzzing around. And of course, you got your front porch light on, open up the door, you got 7 crane flies in the house. Annoying, yeah. Most of its life, just like the Palo Verde beetle, is in the form of a larva, like a grub or a worm, if you would, right? Like a caterpillar.
Right.
And so most of their life is a larva, and the larva is the one that eats, and it eats, like decaying organic matter and grasses and down in the roots. But when it becomes an adult crane fly, all they do is reproduce, lay some eggs, and boom, off they go. They're done. They're finished. They don't even eat. They don't even eat. They just annoy you.
So they don't even eat little kids
they
that
don't
are naughty.
Eat little brothers. They don't eat naughty sisters.
I'll have to let my kids know.
Yep. So it's called a crane fly, and there you go. So you can use that at your next cocktail hour. You're good to go.
And what about our other swarming flying insects we see when the rains come out?
So, again, earlier in the segment, we talked about bees and wasps. Yeah. They are most definitely active. Got a really neat little insect called a lacewing. It's kind of a small, greenish, transparent-looking little flying insect. Again, just a nuisance. Most of the desert pests are just... they're fairly beneficial, and they just can be annoying or nuisance. They're not dangerous in any way. And so when you learn to appreciate that, you just can, manage the porch lights or keep the windows and doors sealed, or, sanitation is a great practice. Keep the moisture down. You can really control a lot of this volume. Pest control is there as a source if you need it. You know. Now, there's preventative measures to keep the dangerous ones away, right? Our scorpions and centipedes and black widows. But in the end, a pest control company that you really want on staff is somebody that's going to give you a lot of advice and a lot of direction and just calm the nerves, okay?
Right.
Protect the sisters, and the naughty ones, and say, listen, let's not overreact. Here's what you do. Here, I just was on the phone on the way here with somebody, and I gave him about 20 minutes of direction, and he didn't buy a thing. And that was fine with me.
Right.
He's now educated. He's going to go take care of some rodent issues. And if it doesn't work or he needs help, he knows where to go. And that's service to me.
It is. That's actually, I love that about you, because you even mention other companies. If you can't help someone, you'll refer them to someone that's going to give them some good service.
Yeah.
What about those termites?
Yeah, so talk about swarming. Now, the big swarming season for termites is definitely in the fall after the monsoon rains, or right in the middle of them, okay? We can get a swarming event in the spring as well. It depends on the level of humidity. Humidity is really a big factor. The temperatures right now are such that it's keeping the humidity a bit down. That sun, you might have noticed today as we came into the studio, it's starting to really pop out. We may get some swarming sessions before the dry summer hits. So I'm kind of anxious to see what happens.
Right.
If you've ever driven down the road and you run through what I call a funnel cloud, it looks like a little tornado.
Yeah.
Those are either swarming termites or swarming ants. And of course, you've got to all pass the quiz right now, okay? So if you get out of the car and you grab by the wings this little insect that just you pelted with the windshield, okay? And you pick it up and you look at it, if it's shaped like this, what would that be?
He showed it like a figure eight.
Like a figure eight. It's going to be an ant. That's a swarming ant. But if it looks like this,
straight line,
straight down, very good, Ray. I'm taking
this
you
is
with
radio.
me.
This is radio.
This is radio. Hey, we're
have
we're
some
doing
visualization.
That's why
here.
I've got Ray here. That's going to be a termite. It's shaped like a cigar, straight down, no pinched waist, right? So anyway, it's kind of fun, a little thing that you share with people, and they can tell their friends. And now you're an expert. But there are very key indicators that can distinguish between ants and termites. Swarming is a necessary thing in the bug world. This is how insects expand, survive, expand their colonies, and we just need to understand that and manage that appropriately.
And hope the neighbor's house is more attractive than ours.
You hope so. You hope so.
And if someone is seeing swarming, is there any point where they should be letting you know to come and check and see if it's becoming a problem at their house?
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I think getting a set of eyes on a home is always a good thing, just to be safe. Typically, the swarms are occurring out in the desert and end up in your pool, on your windshield, up on top of the roof. But, those little fellas are crawling around and they're looking for an opportunity to get into some damaged wood, maybe crawl into the soil right at the base of the house, and you could have a challenge there. So getting a free inspection, always a good idea. Never would turn that away.
Is there a insect that's available that hurts the roof at all, that sits on the roof and affects the roof or anything at all?
When you said that, the very first thing, I'm certain you're not even going to expect this, but yes, there is, and it's not an insect. It is a pest, right? And that's pigeons. Birds.
Gotcha.
I'll tell you what,
birds
on top of a roof can really decay that white coat, shingle, even tile for that matter. It is highly acidic. And of course, we've got solar panels, we've got HVAC units, we have swamp coolers and other devices up on top of the roof. They nest underneath those and they just sit there and defecate, okay?
Right.
That is that's some nasty stuff, and that will decay a roof. That's the one pest that immediately comes to mind when it comes to roof protection and thwarting off any damage.
Is that your area of expertise?
It is. We have limitations, and so there is some work I'll take on. One example that I don't take on would be solar panels. I really... that's a very tricky sort of work, especially with tile. There are some excellent pest control companies out there that specialize in that sort of pigeon exclusion, and we would recommend them.
I've seen that where it's gone untreated for so long that now you've got all this debris holding moisture against that roof.
Yeah.
And not only is it acidic, it's not healthy for someone to go up and take care of that themselves. So we certainly appreciate companies like yours that are out there keeping us safe and our roofs in good condition.
You're listening to the Johnson Smith team, and we have Rigo RC, the owner of Rigo Pest Prevention, with us. We got one more segment with the pillar of the Tucson community, Rigo RC.
Right on.